What's up, everybody? This is John Hall. I'm back with my friend Chris Thomas. He's the Associate Director of Recruiting Operations for Purpose Workforce Solutions, and they're a mentoring and coaching-based staffing firm. He's also the founder of Your Passion First. They're a workforce readiness festival company. I really just wanted to come on and highlight all the great work that he's been doing. Hope you guys have seen it, but it's just incredible stuff. And Chris, how you doing this morning?
I'm awesome, man. I really, really appreciate you just having me on. I'm honored. You're doing some great things yourself. So it's always good to just reconnect with old friends that are trying to do similar work. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, just tell me about some of the things that's going on in your life right now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I've been in staffing for about 10 years, and yeah, I've seen a couple of things, as it relates to just having to work with different people of different backgrounds. I think what helps me and what has helped me is my background, in that I was born from a Black mom and a Black dad, but at a very early age, my parents got divorced, and my mom married a Caucasian, a white guy, whatever you want to call him, but that's my dad as well. So I had the privilege of understanding Black culture and understanding white culture. I got to go to different family events, parties, and all that, where I was the only Black guy, or me and my mom were, and everyone else was white. And it was an experience for me. And while my dad is from the South Side, and my grandma, the only now standing housing project, Outgoat Gardens, she's still out there, and that's where my dad still visits when he comes back in town. So again, I say all that to say I understood that part, and I was raised there, but I was privileged enough to be raised in Oak Park. And so what that's helped me to do in staffing is to see things, I think, from a broader perspective.
Yes.
And look at people more holistically. And really that's what it boils down to when you look at the workforce right now and what organizations are doing as they try and look at people holistically as a person again. I think companies have gotten into this state of just filtering in people, like, hey, here's a body, okay, and then that's it. They're producing or they're not, but then they don't look at the person holistically. And try and understand what they're doing, what motivates them, what challenges and barriers they're going through. And so what I get the opportunity to do at Purpose Workforce Solutions is do just that. We are, I believe, the second of our kind nationally right now, doing this model, this business model, the mentoring and coaching based staffing model. And my hopes, I'd love all staffing firms to do this model, because I think it's the way that you should onboard people, especially entry-level people. I'd like to take it even further at some point. Again, I'm not the CEO, I'm not one of the partners or anything. I just head up recruiting operations, but I think that there's a chance for all staffing models to be like this, because I think it allows people to enter an organization in a more holistic manner. In a way that there is someone on the outside that's talking with your shift manager and hiring manager, but then you're also talking with that person and facilitating any type of challenges you may be having, but also leveling up, right? Developing a plan. And so that's Purpose Workforce Solutions. I bring all that up. My passion is mentoring and coaching, but what stemmed Your Passion First was just speaking to big groups of students and wanting to get my voice out there more. I'm on the leadership council at Year Up. And so I speak with every graduating class, and I actually just had an opportunity to speak with, it was between 65 and 70 of them this past Friday that are going off onto internships for the second half of their 1-year program. Which is what Year Up does. But what stemmed Your Passion First was wanting to get that voice out more And then I wanted to monetize it, right? Like, how do you get your voice out? But now that it's out there, how do you get that out on a bigger scale and monetize it? And so what your passion first is we're a podcast-based mentoring and coaching platform, and we're looking to be the industry leader in workforce readiness festivals and events. And so when you look at that, the challenge that I see is there's a lot of communities that are under-resourced, and only way that they see the world is through this glamorized version, which comes through their phones. It comes through word of mouth, through what they see on Facebook, Instagram, television, different social media outlets, television. But they don't see the grind in the process of getting there. And they don't see the roles or the positions that they can be in right now that will get them to that glamorized state. For example, if you want to be a professional athlete, an NFL player, what if you don't get there, right? What if you do get there? What can you do right now to get there? Sports analyst, sports broadcaster. There's a number of different roles that you can do right now. And so how do you meet people at that level, but then also entertain them with that industry? And so, I'll pause there, man. I know I said a lot, but I wanted to make sure that I got it all out with the two, what I'm doing, and then trying to define the two. The need for the festivals came up with me not being able to fulfill that need at Purpose Workforce Solutions. And it's an interesting story I'd love to get into. I think that's another podcast of how that came up. But I'm excited to be able to be truly putting my passion first, and having that opportunity to do it both financially with Purpose Workforce Solutions right now, and then also what I hope I can monetize, but more importantly, make a profounder impact or a more profound impact on some of the more disparate communities that I can't help with Purpose Workforce Solutions.
Yes, and that's awesome, and that's why I'm so glad that we reconnected. For anyone that's watching, me and Chris met back at Fenwick High School in Oak Park freshman year, and I only went there for 2 years because my family relocated downstate to Central Illinois back in 1995, and so I knew Chris for a couple of years back then, and we kind of just both went our own ways. And just interesting how at this point of our lives we're just so committed to developing and helping people from the communities that we came from go to higher levels. So it's just awesome to see what you're doing. Really, really proud of the work you're doing.
Thank you, man. Likewise.
Yeah, man. So tell me about one of the upcoming festivals that you have. Let's kind of talk about some of that.
So we're in stealth mode. I'm gonna be honest with you. Partially because there's a lot of research going on. Partially because I don't want to give away too much, because there's nobody else doing what we're trying to do right now.
I like it.
But the gist of it is, when I look at an under-resourced community, there's a lot of different races there, but there's still the same problem, the same challenge. It's just different communities need that challenge handled a little bit differently in terms of how you meet them at their level. And so when I look at the community that I came from, and again, just to be very clear, not the one I was raised in. I live in Oak Park and I was raised here, and I'm very proud of that. But what I'm very sad about is that 4 or 5 blocks away, down on Central or Laramie, it's a completely different world. And so when I look at the challenge that I see closest to me and the race that I see closest, it's African Americans. And the challenge is that there's an achievement gap and there's an unemployment gap, where I see the biggest challenge is that everyone wants a job, but everyone doesn't want to grind through what it takes to get to that dream job. And a lot of people don't get met at their level and think it's easy. They want the fast game. there's a mindset of I can go out on the block and I can make $300 an hour. $300 a day easily, right? That easy way, that mindset that I don't care if all that gets taken away in a moment. The mindset I would like to change with these workshops is, how do you change a $300 a day mindset to a $300 an hour mindset? And when I say that, what I mean is, how do you get people to think longer term about how long is it going to take me to really make $300 an hour legally, right? Without the risk of it getting taken away at any given moment, and sustainable. And so when you do that, you first have to meet people at their level, but it has to tie in to that glamorized persona that they want to be. And so what I'm looking to achieve here is to engineer workshop-based and entertainment-based festivals that allow people to engage and interact within the given industries, as well as be entertained within said industries. And so, you know, there's a lot involved with this, and a lot of people that are helping me that I'm so blessed and grateful for. And it brings a tear to my eye, honestly, to know that I have that support with this. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that what we want to do here is really, a lot of people have tried it to do what I want to do, and a lot of people have failed, and we're gonna fail, and I'm okay with that. But if we don't try and we don't come together collectively as communities and as people as a whole, and try and change mindsets to overcome stereotypes, as Cesar Munoz said, that's the goal. We need to come together synergistically to do that. And I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I think you're doing all the right things. Got a question regarding that too. Can't thank you enough for bringing me on board, just welcoming me to the advisory board for your organization. I know that you're running a tight ship over there. And my question really is around, what have you done to attract such high quality and capable people on the championship team that you're building inside your organization? How have you done that?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, man. And I want to be very modest and truthful here. We started with nothing, man. I started at Intellectual Radio with not good video quality. We still don't have that good video. You know, I started with nothing, though, with no capital, no funding, not a plan, just a thought. And so when I look at high quality, I'm trying to achieve that high quality. What I expect more is just steady progress with everyone that I have. Mm-hmm. That being said, we are at a point where we are going to have to pay for some of the high quality pieces. I do have to pay Ernie for studio time. You know, Ernie heads up sound and broadcasting, and that is a blessing to have such a great friend that gives me such cheap studio time.
It's a beautiful spot. I mean, you look like just a national, show. I mean, it looks as good as anything that you'd see on the largest networks that are out there. So,
yeah, I appreciate that, man. We got a long way to go, though, to get it where we want it. And I know Kayla's muted in and on, but she's doing a great job of bringing some amazing ideas to the table. So I'm definitely excited for season 2, which starts July 30th. Okay. It will stream live on somewhere. Somewhere. Stay tuned. You can find out details, though, on Facebook on Your Passion First.
Your Passion First, Facebook.
Your Passion 1 ST. So Your Passion First. I'm excited for that, for sure.
Awesome, man. And is that the best way that people that are wanting to know more about your organization can kind of tap in right now to kind of be on the pulse of the news?
Absolutely, man. And there's going to be other ways too, but right now we definitely want to get that following up Our website's almost done. I am working on content. I'm at a point where I do need someone on that advisory board that's going to help with that. So I'm speaking with a gentleman that's a content writer and copywriter on Monday. So hopefully that goes well, and we can get that thing done. But yeah, that is the best way. Your passion, the number one, and then ST, your passion first on Facebook.
Awesome.
Instagram, Twitter too. That's the handle. LinkedIn, you can find me there. And that is the name of the website too, yourpassion1st.com. So just keep in mind that the website I think the logo's up though. So
Awesome, man. I love it. I love it. So I'll ask you one more question about about your project as well. So just seeing all the work you're doing, getting everything up and running, what's been the most rewarding part of seeing what started just as an idea kind of come to fruition, and all the people that have come on board to support you, and the impact it's being able to make for people?
what's been the most rewarding part?
For you.
The love and support, man, of people that believe in this idea that the change can happen. I've always wanted to provoke something. I just didn't know what it was. I had to provoke myself a little bit first. That gave me some setbacks, but now I think it's time to provoke change within the industry that I work in, as well as within the community that I live. And so I think the most rewarding piece is seeing the people, as I start to bring the idea to fruition, that are buying in. And I'm just excited to get the full business plan done and see the true impact, because the rewarding part is going to be sitting back after that first event and seeing how many people that we get there and how many mindsets that we change, and people that walk out of there truly inspired.
I love it. I think this conversation is flowing real good, because that's kind of taken me to the next point that I wanted to bring up with you. And thanks for sharing that, man.
For sure.
So I'm sure that on your social media feed, you've probably seen all the crazy stuff over the past week that I've seen. It's just all kind of stuff going on out there, if you know what I mean. And as far as the change that you're talking about, that you're trying to create, on my end, I'm sure you're aware of the book we've got coming out in a couple of weeks. And that's what it's all about. It's really about, literally the first sentence in the book says, "This is a book for Black people." Title of our book, 100 questions Black people should ask themselves, A Candid Conversation. And so our goal with this book is really to elevate people's mindset, and really is to create continuous dialogue around some difficult issues, as well as things that people may not have thought about, so we can come up with a way to make things better for everyone. So I'll ask you a couple questions from out of there. We're doing all these discussions right now, interviewing people, group discussions, one-on-ones, and really just kind of throwing questions out there, getting this conversation going, so that we can figure out the best way to address certain things, or the best path to go in specific situations. So first one I've got is, what hinders the creation of economically successful Black communities?
That's a good one, man.
Thank you.
What hinders the creation of economically
successful
Black communities?
Because that's important.
Yeah. Again, when I look at the way I was raised, I never really saw Black and white till I was older.
Sure.
Because I always just saw my dad as my dad, and my other dad as my dad, and my mom as my mom. And so it didn't start affecting me until I started to see how I was treated differently. And so I think first and foremost, what hinders people is that they're scared to get treated differently, and it's okay to be treated differently. You have to know your value.
Mm.
In some of the communities that I see and that I go to on a daily basis, and just to even speak outside the Black community, I was at the Chicago Workforce Community Center, which is Hispanic, near 18th and Ashland on Friday. And regardless of the race, it's under-resourced communities that are devalued based on the way that they started in this country. And so when I look at that, I try and look at individually how we look at ourselves first. And I think that you have to understand that you can be better first and foremost, regardless of how your whole fucking race, excuse my language, started here. You have to take responsibility for you and your person.
Yes.
And the challenge is that there's pressures, man. There's pressures. There's pressures from kids' cousins who they're living upstairs from that are selling drugs, coming in the house with $300 pair of shoes when you're just trying to earn $13 freaking an hour doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's a pressure, man. That's a pressure that people don't understand. And you say, oh, well, go ahead. Why don't you move out? It's not that easy, man. It takes a community to build a support system of doing the right thing around people that can show them how it's better to go and grind here because you'll make $300 an hour versus potentially being locked up somewhere or losing your life, right? But you have to create those community centers again. There's no freaking community centers anywhere, man. And so I can't go and create a community center in every community, but I can go and hold a festival in every community.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be a change. And I think that people need to start within, but you have to bring them those resources. And so I think that's what's holding people back is the challenge is there's no one bringing those resources to help them see that that change is possible.
I love it. That's awesome. That kind of ties into the next question I've got for you. You kind of talked about some of the points in this question already, but I'll throw it out there to you. So it's how often do you consider how your individual actions impact the position of Black people in America?
That's a good question because that is one that I do err on the side of my race and culture. Only because I know that when I do something, I'm not just doing it for me. There's a lot of eyes on me.
Yes.
I have to be very cognizant of that. And so when I look at the way people perceive Black people, I want to change that perception. Again, I love this quote. And for those of you that don't know who Cesar Munoz is, he's the new founding principal of Cristo Rey Miami. But I use this quote a lot because it's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to change mindsets to overcome stereotypes.
Yes.
It's so important, man, that happens collectively. So
Amen.
I got a little off track there, man, but
not at all. That sums everything up, to be honest.
Cool.
So thank you. Next one. What positive results could come from Black communities supporting each other in the same way that...
Can I answer a little bit more about that other one? Do you mind? Because
yeah.
I want to. Okay.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I don't want to lose the train of thought.
No, I think this is good stuff. People need to hear it. So no worries.
appreciate it. You know, I try and just be me, man, you know, and what I've learned is you can't always just be you in every situation, in every environment. And that doesn't, and maybe I'm using the wrong choice of words. You can't be your raw self in every situation and every environment. So I know that me as a Black male, my aggressiveness can get taken very cocky, right? My confidence can get taken very cocky sometimes. And I'm learning that even more so now working with 3 females. I need to tone it down. 'Cause I'm never trying to be an asshole or cocky, and I know that I can come off that way sometimes. I'm just trying to get shit done. And so when I look at how that can be taken as a Black male, I look at a lot of Black males and how their demeanor can get taken the wrong way. And so what I try and do is be very transparent with my communication, so that never gets taken the wrong way. Again, that can be too much and overwhelming for people sometimes too, that I am so transparent. But when I look at trying to be a good role model for my son, who's 50% Mexican and 50% whatever the hell I am, I'm a mix of things: Native American, African American, Polish. I'm sure there's some other things. I need to get that genealogy test though. But what I'm saying is, like, I try and set an example to knock down stereotypes from people. Like, when I asked you what to wear, you're like, well, I'm gonna wear casual. I'm like, I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. Like, to me, this is what I feel like. I would have a shirt off, to be honest with you. But I'm like, that might rub people, you know. But like, that's how I want to be, you know. And that doesn't mean that I'm not educated, that I'm any type of way. I should be able to do what I want to do, but to a certain extent, I can't go on an interview with no shirt on unless I'm interviewing for a modeling, you know, and I can't go to a fine dining restaurant and wear jeans and expect to get looked at the right way. You know what I mean? So I try and make sure that as a Black male that I'm giving the right impression for the rest of the Black male population. Yeah, I want people to think differently about me than they do what the masses think about our under-resourced population. So, correct. Thank you for letting me fill in that gap.
Oh, that needed to be said. That needed to be heard. So yeah, I'm glad you wanted to add that. Thank you. So we'll go to the next one. I mean, that was a great answer. I mean, I don't know how many people are talking about this kind of stuff, and that's why it's important for me and also my partner, J.D. Smith. You know, we're just having as many conversations about these things as we can, because there's a lot of people, you know, I think, that are afraid for whatever reason. You know, they turn their television on at night and, you know, they get riled up, you know, because there's so much misinformation, you know, and, you know, these people are taking your jobs, these people are trying to kill you, you know, and it's not the case. It's like you said, it's the small percentage, you know, that make everything bad for everyone else. Just like the small percentage of police that make the broader population of police look bad. I mean,
everyone wants to blame. Yeah, everyone wants to place blame.
Yep.
And look outwardly, and that's not just with racial and political issues, man. I see that with staffing issues. I see that with just people. People just need to take responsibility, and fear is okay. Fear motivates me, man. You know, and I was talking with the students the other day, and one girl said it amazingly. She's like, you know what I'm really good at? She's like, I'm really good at getting scared of things, because when I get scared of them, I research how to find out more and get better with it. And like, that's so powerful to me, because fear should make you want to understand something, not run away from it. And I think that's the challenge a lot of people face, is they get paralyzed with fear as opposed to using action to motivate you to progress through that fear.
That's well said.
Thank you.
And if there's anything that I can do to really just open people's minds up. So, just having us on here, just speaking in an intelligent way about things that might make some people uncomfortable. I mean, it doesn't make us uncomfortable. It's the world we live in. But we're helping people understand from a different perspective of what it's like in our life, if you will. Absolutely. And how we're trying to create change in the right way. So go on to the next one here. What positive results could come from Black communities supporting each other in the same way immigrant communities take care of their own?
All communities need to support all communities.
Couldn't agree more.
When I look at Black communities, I think most Black businesses fail because they just try and focus on Black populations, as I do think any business that just tries to focus on one race won't necessarily fail. You just won't be as successful as you potentially could be. There are soul food restaurants that know how to appeal to every race.
Oh yeah.
People show up, you know what I'm saying? And there's Asian restaurants, right? People love Chinese food that appeal to every race. So what I look at is when people want to grow in a community, you have to be open to thinking bigger on a grander scale than just your community and what you know. And again, that's very challenging when the only outlet you have, there's no mentoring, right? There's no coaching. There's no one for you to look up to. And you see your phone and you see your TV and your computer. And that's if you have a computer.
Right.
Of the population I deal with, 60 to 63% of them do not have a computer, man.
Wow.
At all, right? So I got to send them to the library, right? And they don't want to, they got to get a library card. They got, to use the computer. What are the chances, man? 1 out of maybe 8 of them actually do that. Or they go to a friend to find a computer. And so if that's the only resource that you have to think about, how do we get the resources to them so that they can change their mindset and think bigger than just their community? And that takes a synergistic approach from all communities, right? And all mindsets to put in on how that is engineered. And that's what we're working on at Your Passion First, right? Yeah. Really trying to engineer and construct what that looks like.
Yes, I like how you mentioned the podcast and that type of education and mentoring, along with the entertainment, because I think that's really sticky, if you know what I'm saying.
It is. It's funny too, because in going to some of the partners that we are trying to partner with from a vendor perspective and even partnership perspective, a resounding piece of feedback that we're getting from the elder people that are running these different workforce development organizations is that they're scared of the entertainment piece and bringing that to the community, especially the rap music.
Right.
Because of what it could ensue, right? And so when you look at trying to tie it into the learning piece, the workshop piece, it could be done, right? But to your point earlier, people are scared of the unknown. It hasn't been done before, right? It could be done. You just have to figure out how and not be scared to figure it out. Are we going to have a casualty? There's a chance, bro. There is a high probability, actually. How do you construct it so that it's not? I know there's a lot of nonviolence events out there, right? How do I have the right backing for that? The right police in attendance, right? Again, do we want police? Do we want security, right? I don't want to scare people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want people to be able to be free, but the goal, the mission is to change the mindsets in the community, bring them the resources so that they can look bigger than the community they live in, but also have a link between what they see or they glamorize through their TVs and through their phones.
Yes. Yes. You're doing some good work, Chris.
Thank you, man. We're very early stage. It's a work in progress, man. And to my point earlier, and to one of your questions about bringing on top quality people, people that are in, I hope are all in. That's all I can ask, because everyone's volunteering at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't raised $1 of capital, but we have a long way to go. This is going to take years, man. So, but we got to start somewhere, and it's going to take, I don't know if we'll ever perfect it, man, because there's always going to be racial tension in the world. Do you know what I mean? And that's just a way of the world. We have to look even back to Aborigine times. Like, when we didn't speak, you looked at people's color, and like people that weren't your color, you ran. Those were your enemies, man. And so, not that that's the case now, because we can communicate socially and work through things synergistically as people of different races. And technology has allowed us to connect that in such a profound way that it's put fear in people. And so how do we eliminate that fear is what we want to do.
I think through having conversations like this that people can see. So yeah, man, appreciate your time. I'll do one more, and then we'll kind of see where it goes from there.
Absolutely.
I definitely enjoyed visiting with you today.
Likewise. I love people always say you're a talker, but you could talk a lot, man, but if you don't talk with a mission, it's wasted talk. And I'm really glad that my mission is my passion as well. I'm very, very humbled to be able to be speaking with you. So thank you for that.
Yeah, man. It's pretty surreal, the things that are going on in my life right now, especially around all this work, with my Wealth Legion platform, as well as our book that's coming out. So many discussions that I have with people, offline. And when I say offline, I mean not on a podcast, not that's being recorded. If I just could have 1 million people that were watching, the impact that would have on everyone. Yeah. And so right now I'm in this mode where I want to have as many more discussions like this, so that people can really see what we're doing. So many things have happened just in the past year, if you will. And I can't just sit back and not do anything, if you know what I mean. Absolutely. And so we always think, what can I do? Or let me say that a different way. We don't think, what can I do? We look at a situation and it's like, well, I can't do anything. Let me say it like that. And if we come from the other perspective of what can I do, then your mind opens up to be able to take some kind of action to make a change. And so I can't tell you how much time I've spent just doing that part. What can I do? And so the momentum that's created and the doors that's opening up for me and the people that I'm able to connect with, it's just been incredible. So there's some great things that are coming down the line. Won't spoil anything, but I'm having a great conversation tomorrow as well, with someone that, I think people are really going to like what he's got to say. So yeah, man, this is really good stuff. And so I kind of want to wrap up here and kind of bring everything back home, and hopefully this will connect back to the work you're doing. So the last question really is, do you think there are sufficient news outlets that cover topics that are important and relevant to Black people?
Um, you know, the news is so jaded, man.
Yep.
And so I try and listen to it to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
I just try and get out there and talk with people though.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, the news that I need to hear about is going to be documented. And it's gonna, there's nothing that I, like, unless there's a bomb or something,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing that I really need to know about. Like right now, today, right? Everything that I need to know about, I hear from social media
Mm.
and from companies that are established,
Right.
that are doing things, versus looking at news outlets that are telling me about companies that are doing things.
Mm-hmm.
So I try and just go more to the actual source and what they're doing, and interact with them, right? If it's something that I want to be about every day, learning about, knowing about. Again, you could look at politics and all that. I don't follow politics, man. My brother's running for Congress,
Yeah.
Ken Thomas, here in Chicago. And so I may start to follow it a little bit more just because of him, but I don't follow it because it's jaded, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's so jaded to me that it's hard for me to follow something that sometimes is not real.
Mm-hmm.
And, I failed math in freshman year of high school at Fenwick. And my mom made me go to summer school, and I got a tutor. And then I never took a math final again until senior year with Miss Chaika.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got exempt from every one. But like the way that you kind of construct things and engineer things from a mathematical standpoint, there's a logical way to that. And I minored in philosophy, and there's a way to things. And I majored in psychology, and there's a feel to things. And so when I look at news and social media, I try and look at all of the, how do I feel about something? And I know this is the long-winded answer, but I'm trying to give you how I feel about it. I try and look at all of that, how I listen to it, how it sounds, how it logically flows. And then I take that. I ask a couple people about it, what do they think? But I don't ever just look at a news source.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I look at all of them put together, I just try and look at how do we as communities link up together more and just talk together more and interact together more. And again, that's what I'm trying to do with Your Passion First, because, the news can always talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be about it.
Love it. That's huge. Yeah, I mean, that's where real change is going to come from. Right. So, yeah, I can just tell you personally, I mean, I don't watch any mainstream news at all. I mean, it's just really a waste of time. And I mean, I could only imagine people that just watch hours and hours of news every day, just how upset that they probably have to be. It's not doing anything good for your health, if you will, or your mind. And so, yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's personally how I feel about, relevant news sources. I would love to see, some type of media come up where it is kind of highlighting the work of leaders that are doing good things versus, you turn TV on, it's like this person, got arrested for this, this person, and just another black face every night. If there was something where it's like, hey, this person, they're the CEO of this company. This person, they started a real estate investment firm in Atlanta, and you know what I'm saying? So I feel
let me tell you,
it'd be huge. Go ahead.
You're doing it.
Well, we're
doing it. We are doing it. We are creating those outlets right now, you and me both, with our podcasts. And like, that's where we have to start, man. It's just taking ownership on what we can do ourselves
Right.
That more people do it, and then we bring more people on our shows that are doing it, and just connect everyone and build that collective environment. And we're doing it right now, man. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be doing it with you, to be honest.
I'm pumped, man. I mean, you got to celebrate the small wins, right? So I just brought on two additional writers this week that are going to be contributing to my blog on the financial education side of things. So just going to be able to alleviate some of the things on my plate, as well as be able to highlight the work of some other people. So
Awesome.
I'm excited about that.
Congratulations, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. But I don't know if your son is asleep or not. My daughter, she's 5. She's got Kung Fu coming up this morning. So I know I'm going to have to get her dressed and breakfast and all that before training. I feel like this is a good place to kind of wrap. We can always get back on here again.
Anytime, man. I just, again, I'm very humbled and honored to be in the position that I'm in, to be able to speak on my trials and tribulations, but also my successes and what I'm trying to do within staffing as a whole, as well as within the community that I live in. And so just to be able to do it with awesome people, truly, genuinely awesome people like yourself.
Oh, man.
Even further, to be able to have you on my advisory board, man, it's an honor. So thank you, man. Thank you for having me. And again, everyone, your passion, the #1 ST, you'll be hearing from us. Check in on Facebook. We'll be going live. Just looking forward to spreading the word and getting into some of these communities.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Thomas. So hope you have a wonderful day, man. We'll talk soon.
All right.